I'm literally so excited for this video. I've always wanted to do a video like this, but I just didn't really know how to, and I think I figured it out, so fingers crossed. But yeah, I read 30 books in 2023. Well, I DNF'd one of them, but I read like almost all of it, so I'm considering it I read it since I read over 50%. But yeah, we're going to be tier ranking the books I read in 2023. First, we are going to discuss our tier ranking list. So first we have You Were Everything. This is like my top reads of the year. Just, they made me feel so many emotions. I'm talking like 5, almost 6-star reads, that kind of thing. Then we have A Sleigh, and that means like a 4-star book, like really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it, but it just wasn't quite that 5-star read. Then we have A Binge-Worthy Sleigh. This is kind of like your 3-star book. It's kind of mid, but you binge through it really quick. It's still a great book. Next we have Maybe For You, but It's a No For Me. And everybody has those books. Sometimes you just don't really like a book, but somebody else might. Then the last tier is I would not recommend to my best friend. And that just means I really don't like it. I'm talking like a 1-star, maybe even just don't even pick that book up. Starting out in 2023, I read the Percy Jackson series, which is a total of 5 books. And I'm gonna rate this just based on the whole series because I kind of felt the same way about the books. I would say that it is a binge-worthy sleigh. And there was a couple that stuck out more, like The Lightning Thief and then The Battle of the Labyrinth. It is a younger adult read, but I still really, really enjoyed it. Then we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this book was everything to me. I'm talking 6-star read, recommend to everybody. I feel like I talk about this book so much. It's just because it really did just elevate my reading. I hadn't read anything like this before, and it's got that glamour to it. I love the magazine articles. Y'all have heard me rant about this before. It's just such an excellent book. Then we have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid as well. And this was a slay. I loved this book. It just wasn't quite a 5-star read for me. I did really, really enjoy it. Again, Taylor Jenkins Reid just knows how to do something different, and that's what this book was. You really just felt like you were reading about a rock star's life, and I loved that. Next we have Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens, and my mom actually recommended this book to me, and I did really enjoy it, but I don't know. I would say, I don't know if I would say it was binge-worthy. I didn't really speed through it very fast, but I wouldn't say it's a slay, but it's a slight slay. So I will put it in binge-worthy just because I feel like that's where it belongs. It's a really good book. Then we have Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, and this book was, I learned a lot. It was good. It really had me thinking, but it was not that fun to read, to be honest. I did rate this book a 3-star read because I did enjoy it and it did teach me a lot, but I would not read it again and I would not recommend it to anybody. So I'm going to put this as Maybe For You, but It's a No For Me. Next we have The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. And my friend actually let me borrow this book, and it was a really good book. I did really enjoy it, but it wasn't like crazy or anything. I did speed through it pretty fast, so I will say that it was a binge-worthy slay. Then I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, and I actually listened to the audiobook of this, and she did such a great job with the audiobook. Like, I really felt like she was just talking to me, and this is a very, very sad book at some points. I would definitely look up the trigger warnings. But it was really interesting to see a child actor's life, and it was really hard to hear about some of the stuff that she went through. I actually don't rate memoirs though, so I won't be putting this in a tier ranking because it's literally her life. So, but I do highly, highly, highly recommend that book. And then we also have Beautiful Boy, which is another memoir that a dad wrote about his son going through addiction and just what their family faces. And I also highly, highly recommend that book, but definitely look at the trigger warnings for both of those because it is something that's not exactly easy to read about. Then we have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and I ate this book up. It was so good. I really enjoyed this thriller. It wasn't like crazy or anything, but there was some little twists in there, and I just read it really fast. It was a really easy read, so I will say that this one is, I kind of want to put it in binge-worthy sleigh, but honestly, this is like a 4 stars to me, so I'm gonna move this up. Then we have The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and this was just a really fun hockey romance, binge-worthy for sure, and I would say that it is a binge-worthy sleigh. I sped through that really quick, and I do recommend it. Next we have Twisted Love by Anna Huang, and some of you guys might not like where I'm putting this, but I just didn't really, it was binge-worthy at first, and then I just didn't really care anymore. It's not very memorable to me. I didn't like the love interest in it, and so I am going to put maybe for you, but it's a no for me, because oh, not there. I would recommend it to my best friend, because I really like the second book in the series, which is Twisted Games. There's a bodyguard trope in there, and the princess, and I just loved the overall plot of it all, and hearing about like the princess's life, and the love story is a little bit fun as well, so I did enjoy that, and I love the love interest in that one. So I would put this one in binge-worthy sleigh. Then we have my top read of the year, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and everybody knows, I don't even have to say much about this one. This one is going into You Are Everything, because it really was. It made my year. I'm like struggling to put these into the tiers, to be honest. Yeah, loved this book so much, and I don't really need to say too much because everybody already knows about that book. We have the ACOTAR series, and I am going to talk about the books individually. I have not finished A Court of Silver Flames yet. I'm hitting a little bit of a slump with that one, guys. I am only like 40 pages in, but it is actually my next book that I'm going to be reading, so don't worry, because I know that's some of y'all's favorite. But we're going to start with A Court of Thorns and Roses, and this book was, I would say this one was a slay. I really enjoyed this book. I mean, it's the start of an incredible series, and there's just some twists and turns in here that I did not expect. I love the world building of it all. Then we have A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and this one is everything. Definitely one of my favorites. I always switch between Akamoth and Akawar, because they just mean so much in different ways, you know? But wow, do I love that book. And then Akawar made me feel things, lots of things. So that one also has to go into You Were Everything. My MacBook's also really old, so it's like very glitchy. It's probably like 11 years old. I need to get a new one, but nobody got money for that. Then we have A Court of Frost and Starlight, and this one was just cute and sweet. It was of the winter solstice. It wasn't like it wasn't like super necessary or anything, but I really did enjoy it. So I would say it was a binge-worthy sleigh. Then we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and I had mixed feelings about this one. She was kind of mean at some points, but I did like their relationship in the beginning. It did kind of go on a little bit too long for me though. I don't know, I would say y'all might not like me for this one. Maybe for you, but it's a no for me. And don't get me wrong, there was parts that I did enjoy about it, but I don't know, I just fell off somewhere with it, and I couldn't tell you why. It could just be the timing, because you know, sometimes you can read a book and you're like, oh, this is a really good book, but I just picked the wrong time in my life to read it. And I think that's what I did with this book. Same thing goes for The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. And I did read all 3 books. I actually listened to them on audiobook as the summer was starting. And it definitely put me in the summer mood. It felt very nostalgic. It's a very young adult read, and I think it would be great for a younger audience. It just was not for me. So I'm gonna put it in maybe for you, but it's a no for me. But I did think it was super cute and sweet. I'm just a little bit older now, so I think I should have read that when I was younger. Then we have If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan, and this is another young adult romance, and I did really enjoy this one, And at the time, I rated it a 3 stars. It did make me cry. It did make me feel a lot of emotions. And I would say, I would put this in a binge-worthy sleigh because I think I read this in like 3 days. It was super easy to read. I did really enjoy it. And I feel like it was still young adult, but I don't know. I'm just putting it there because I can. So, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I would not recommend this one to my best friend. Y'all, this book was so hard for me to get through. I enjoyed it at points and was super interested into it at points. But I don't know. I just really was not feeling this book. I did like how the ending happened, but I don't know. It was not for me. And I was gonna watch the movie, but I think it's out of the movie theaters now, but I still want to see it because I've heard great things about the movie, but the book just, I don't know, I just didn't really like it that much. One of my top favorite books of the year as well, The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros, which this one was wild to me because for the first like 300, 400 pages, I did enjoy the book, but it was like seeming like a 3 stars for me. Like it was like, oh, this is a good book. Like there's cute moments, but it's all right, you know. Then the last bit of the book, I was just sobbing. There was a plot twist that I did not expect, and I just highly, highly enjoyed this book. It just made me feel so much emotions. So I will be putting this into You Were Everything. Then we have The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and I highly, highly recommend this book. I've talked about this book quite a lot as well. This is a self-help book, and it just like taught me a lot about myself and everybody around me and understanding how to show love. So I don't know, it's a very short and easy read. I am going to put this in You Were Everything because I do feel like it has put a lot of influence on me. Then last but not least, we have Credence by Penelope Douglas, and this is the book that I did not finish because, wow, I don't even know what to say about this. I have some friends who really, really enjoyed this book, but it just was not for me at all. I will say the spice in it, there were some good points. I was like, oh, okay. But overall, I just did not really enjoy it. The plot was kind of to me, and I would not recommend this to my best friend. Not that great of a book, and made me uncomfortable a lot of times. Definitely, if you read this, look up the trigger warnings, because wow, there were some things I was not expecting, and that's on me because I didn't look up the trigger warnings, but I'm letting y'all know. So you know to look up the trigger warnings, okay? Thank you guys for watching this video. That is the end of the tier ranking list. If you've read any of these books, let me know how you feel about them. All right, goodbye. Love you. Love you.